Hello, YouTubers. I just had a few things kind of rattling around in my brain, and I just thought I'd record a video. And God, I've tried to record this video about a dozen times now already, and the damn thing just something going on with my camera, so it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So I'm just gonna, I'm going to do it in the same format I've been doing. It's just, some video and some audio overlaid, whatever. Anyways. I'm not going to get into technical crap. I'm just going to deal with the whole camera issue later on. I would use the camera on my laptop, but most cameras on laptops are not worth a crap anyway, and mine is one of those. So unless you have a million candle power light above your desk or wherever you have your laptop, to brighten your face up, it's just not, no. So let's just do it this way. But enough of that nonsense. Something's been kind of bugging me, kind of gnawing at me, and as if we didn't have enough things in the world weighing on our shoulders now as it is. So as far as the prepping community goes, I've heard some say, or I've at least mentioned, they were prepared to bug out for whatever reason. It could be civil unrest. It could be, lack of food and water. It could be, I'm sure they prepped for that, but it could be any number of things, okay? Sometimes it's best, if you live in the city to get out, but then there are others who don't have that luxury to stay in their homes. They would rather stay in their homes than try to bug out because they really have nowhere else to go. And I'm kind of in that situation myself. But my question for everyone really basically is this. Have you thought beyond bug out? Okay, so let's say that, for example, you've got a place that you're going to bug out to, and you're absolutely sure that this is a safe place to go, and wait out whatever crisis has hit our country here in America. Doesn't matter what it is. Could be civil unrest, nuclear war, a natural disaster. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever happens. Have you thought beyond the bug out situation? In other words, is that bug out location your final destination? Or is it only temporary? Do you plan on coming back home when everything blows off, when everything cools down, everything seems safe to go back home? Have you considered this beyond, and I say beyond bugging out? What comes after bugging out? Is your new bug out location, the place where you plan on spending the rest of your lives with your family, your wife, your husband? Or is it just temporary and you plan on coming back home? Because I want to hit you with something here. Do you consider this that, any situation that arises, especially if it causes people to go hungry. Right now we're in dire straits now. We're in a pretty bad predicament right now as far as food goes, and the way things are looking, possibly 6 months from now we may not have any food on the shelves, and that's where prepping comes in. I don't want to preach to the choir because you all know this. If you're preppers, you know this. But have you thought beyond the bug out location? Okay, let's just say that is not your permanent, that the bug out place is not going to be permanent, that you expect to come back home. Let me hit you with this. Did you consider that the rioting and the looting, let's say the rioting and looting is brought on by, I don't know, maybe people looking for food. They're looking for anything that they could sell to buy food, or they might be raiding your pantry while you're at your bug out location, and for whatever reason, They're going to trash your house in the process, looking for food or looking for something that they could barter or sell in exchange for food or whatever. Did you consider the fact that you might not have the same home that you left when you bugged out? Did you consider that your home would be compromised when you come back? Now, that's a very big possibility. You may not may not have the same home that you left when you chose to bug out. And there's nothing wrong with bugging out. That's great. I've chosen to stay home and to hunker down here. This will be my bug out location. This will be my bunker. But have you considered that you might come back home and find your home has been burned down, or it's been flooded, or it's been ransacked, and it doesn't, your furniture's been tossed and your walls have been kicked in and all the windows have been busted out, and you're looking at thousands of dollars worth of damage to your home? Or have you considered that you probably, all those, that scenario right there, all those things that I mentioned could possibly happen? Have you already decided that, okay, you know what, I probably won't have a home when I come back, so maybe we should hunker down? These are things I think people probably should go just one more step further than the bug out location. So in other words, can your bug out location sustain you for the rest of your lives? Is it secure? Is it safe? And are you willing? The dollar is losing, its power, its spending power by the month, by the day, really. It's not worth what it used to be. Inflation will tell you that already. That price of gas and diesel and food and shipping cost and whatnot would tell you that, hey, things are pretty bad. So can you sustain your family in your bug out location? And is your bug out location going to be permanent, or can you make it permanent? Because if you did come back to your home, I could just about bet it's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be the home that you left, and rebuilding is going to be damn near impossible. I just don't feel like it would be feasible to try to rebuild, especially when you would not be able to get materials to replace walls and plaster and glass and furniture and things like that. It'll be like when you first got your first apartment. You're like 20, 21 years old and you got your first apartment. You have like a tiny little card table, for your dining room table. You got like mismatched chairs for it, and your couch is like something somebody was going to toss out, or an old couch that mom and dad didn't want because, hooray, you left the house, and they went and spent money on, $1,500 sofa and a lazy boy and things and a brand new TV because, you're no longer in the picture, so they kind of had to celebrate. So you probably got their old couch too. I know, because it happened to me. I had the couch that you sectional couch. They're like made up of squares and you slide them together. And ours did. Back then they didn't lock together like they do now. They were just basically, they were a cardboard frame covered in some kind of vinyl or some kind of soft material. And, they might have had a really light wood frame in there to hold the cardboard because the cardboard, basically molded the whole thing. So that's what I had. Are you willing to start all over again in your house? Because honestly, like I said, thousands of dollars worth of damage. It's not going to be feasible buying lumber and other building supplies to replace what's been damaged in your home while you were bugged out. It's just not worth it, man. Really. Unless you are already, you've already thought about that and you're willing to live a minimal lifestyle where you don't have as many possessions. And that's something that I've been working on myself. I'm getting rid of extra baggage, extra things that I just really don't need. I really don't use. I can't use them all at once, obviously. So I've been just kind of reducing my inventory as far as personal belongings go, and I've learned to live with very little. And obviously that works for me. And I have a small income anyway. You know, mine comes from disability, so it's not like I'm rich. I don't have money coming out of the ass, but you know. It's just something to consider. Maybe you should rethink your plan. If you're going to bug out, I think you probably should say, okay, can we make our bug out location permanent? Can it be our permanent home? Can we live there indefinitely? Seriously, it's something that you might want to consider. Because I don't think, I'm not sure how much you were willing to give up to try to rebuild a home that's been demolished after the mad crowds have ransacked their town or your town or whatever. It's going to be chaos, no matter what the situation is. Hunger makes people do some crazy things, and also, there's drug addicts out there, and they're going to be looking to score something that they could barter with and get their fix. They might even be looking for chemicals to try to make their own. Just a lot of things, a lot of scenarios to consider that tie into just damaging of property. So do you have a plan? Have you even thought of that? Even considered what the future's going to look like? And I hate being a downer like this. I hate to give such a bleak picture, but that's what's been rolling around in my head. What are you going to have to come back to? Can you make your bug out location your permanent location? Is that where you could spend the rest of your life with your family? It's pretty serious. Unbelievable, really, just how fast things have escalated. Or maybe I should say deteriorated, because, everything started back when the COVID-19 started. And you thought, here recently, you probably thought like I did, oh, I'm glad we got through that. But we got through that pandemic. But then, there's whispers of, other variants of COVID-19 that I noticed that things just escalated. Things got worse and worse. And so now we have inflation, and we have food supply chain problems. We have shipping problems. We are facing extreme fluctuations across the country and around the world, really. Outrageous prices for gasoline and diesel. And diesel, as somebody had mentioned already in a video tonight, that our whole infrastructure relies on vehicles that run off diesel, and diesel is just so outrageous that truck drivers can't afford to take a small delivery job that doesn't pay back not only the fuel expenses, but puts food on the table when they get back home. It's bad. It's really bad. And the lack of food. I have to give Walmart and other stores a little bit of credit for trying to make things look like they're normal. They'll shuffle food around so they don't have as much. Let's say they have like 50 items, okay, let's choose something randomly, like let's say they have Fruity Pebbles, okay, but they only have 50 items. They only have 50 boxes of Fruity Pebbles. So what they do is they might only stack them 2 or 3 deep, but they'll spread them out so it looks like they have a lot, when only in reality they only have 50, and there's no more back in the stockroom. So what's on the shelf is it, and when it's gone, it's gone. So who knows when they're going to get that in again. Farmers are having a hell of a time right now. Fertilizer is a problem. They can't seem to get enough, and The prices of feed is getting more expensive by the week, so that's hard to come by if they, and if they can buy it, it's priced about every other week. It's priced higher than what it was the previous week, and it's getting to the point where some of the farmers are just saying, "Wow, I can't keep this going without going broke." So, now farmers are facing the harsh reality if they may have to close their business down. Some farmers are actually, after having provided beef or chicken or pork or whatever to thousands of people, now they're second guessing their situation. They're going, okay, we're just going to take care of our own family, and that, to hell with selling our food to manufacturers, because it's just not worth it in the end. They can't fertilize their crops, and they can't feed their cattle, and they can't break even. So there's some that are actually just closing their doors to the public or to these big manufacturers and just feeding their families and saying, okay, that's it. We have to find a different kind of income. So with all this nonsense going on, it started back when COVID-19 hit, and then it just one thing after another, and it hit us pretty quickly. I mean, did anybody really see this coming? I didn't. I figured COVID was over once they mysteriously threw that vaccine out there so quickly, So what are you gonna do? I wonder what you're going to do, as far as your Bugout situation. I can understand if you live in a city or if you live in suburbs, it's could be pretty risky staying home, bugging in. It might not be so easy to fortify your home, because people do desperate things when they're hungry or they need their fix if they're drug addicts. So that's one thing nobody's covered really on any prepping channel, is the fact that they say it's not just hungry people, it's going to be addicts out there. They're going to want a fix, and they'll raid your home and they'll destroy it just to try to find something that they can use. And if you can't paint that picture in your own mind, or maybe need an example, pictures are a really good example to give you an idea of how bad things really can be. It might sink in a little bit better if you had pictures to go by. So, and I'm not trying to promote these people's channels just to get them views or whatever, because I'm not going to get any kind of kickbacks for doing this. But I will put this out here. If you want to see what your home might look like when you get back, if you were to come back, this is what your home might look like. Get on YouTube. Well, you're already on YouTube if you're watching this, but get on search on YouTube for urban exploration. Now, Urbex channels like The Secret Vault and Exploring with Taffy and The Proper People, Broken Window Theory, IKS Exploration, just to name a few. Watch some of those channels, and when they explore places, you'll get a really good sense about how people treat abandoned homes and abandoned businesses and abandoned government installations. They break, every window has to be smashed out, and every toilet has to be smashed up, and every sink, its porcelain has to be smashed up, and 20-foot tall graffiti and whatnot. Copper thieves, because they'll tear up the walls, they'll tear up the floorboards, they'll tear out the ceiling just so they can get copper and resell the copper. So if you want to get a pretty good idea what your home could possibly look like if and when things calm down, once all the riots have calmed down and whatnot, some of those exploration channels might give you a pretty good indicator of what your home will look like when you get back. So it's really something that you want to consider. So it's just a little something that I thought I want to maybe share with you. And bounce it off of you, something to think about. So I know none of this is easy, and nobody said it would ever be easy. And I hate speaking doom and gloom. I wish none of this was happening. It'd be great if things went back to whatever normal is. Things have been so weird that I don't even know what normal is. But, and I wish I didn't have to speak about this, but it's something that's been kind of gnawing at me. And I'm telling you what, I mean, people have got to be, you're going to have to take a breather, because I know if you're feeling stressed like I am, if you're worried about the future, if you're worried about your kids or your wife or your husband, grandma, grandfather, whatever, your friends, and you're worried about what's going on in the world right now. Threats of nuclear war, threats of no food, gasoline prices going through the roof. You're wondering how you're going to be able to afford to go to work. That will wear away at you. That stress will take its toll on you, and that's what it's doing to me. I'm feeling it, and I worry. I worry about my family, and I worry about my own future as well, because my family and I right now are separated, and that's not something I want to get into ever on a public forum. That's between us, and doesn't need to be really gone into detail. But I worry about them. I worry if they're going to are they going to have enough food? Can they put food back? And I'm not doing so great myself, but I'm doing the best I can. So please take the time to take a breather, to try to relax, try to take your mind off of things for a while. I'm not saying to stop prepping or whatever the heck it is that you're planning on doing. Even if it's only like a 3-month supply of food, that's better than doing nothing. A year's worth of food would be more ideal, but in some cases, people can't afford to do that. Reconsider your situation. Is bugging in maybe a better option? Can you fortify your home? Can you protect your home and your family? Can you bug out to a location that would be permanent? As I said, it could cost you thousands of dollars to try to replace what had been damaged in your home if you came back to it, considering, the possibility that things calm down and you could go back home again. So would you be willing to fool with that, or is reality going to hit you square in the eyes, and say you can't possibly afford it? Because I could see peace coming for a while, and this is just my opinion. I can't see the future, but I could see peace coming after a while, even after if we had civil unrest, looting, whatnot, people just losing their damn minds. I could see us having a little bit of peace, but it's just going to be a short-lived peace before reality sets in, and people realize that, wow, the dollar doesn't buy what it used to, and it's going to get so expensive. I even wonder if the dollar is even going to be worth anything after it takes the final dive, because that's the way that we are going right now. So it looks like the dollar is going to take a dive, and there's a very good possibility that they planned it that way, and maybe they wanted to, use this crisis as a way to usher in a new world order, or whatever the hell they want to call it, where everybody either takes a mark to buy and sell things, or even just one currency that all the world uses, instead of having the yen or the ruble or the pound or the U.S. dollar. Some kind of new currency where everybody recognizes it, no matter what country they live in. It would be the same dollar or whatever currency. Sometimes I just kind of think that maybe that's what they're trying to accomplish. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm kind of a lot of stuff that I've considered, and there's so many scenarios that play through my head, and I'm sure they have in yours too. Where is all this leading to? So, but anyway, I think I've rambled on long enough. But there's just a few things you can bounce around and in your head, and consider just speaking with your family your friends or whatever, your group, and say, look, this is what I heard Barry say, and I think he might be onto something. And, just throw that out there and say, look, we may not have anything to come back to. So just some food for thought, guys. So with that, I hope everybody stays safe. You stay vigilant and keep up the good fight. Don't ever forget that you're valuable and your family is valuable as well. So until next time, this is Barry around Central Kentucky, deep in the heart of the enemy lines.